Canby was inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame in 2007. Carey, congratulations on your induction. Let's talk about the early days of ball and when you picked up a glove and a ball and a bat and you realized, you know what, it's a lot of fun. I think I want to do this for a long, long time. When did you realize that?
Oh, that'd be about 35, 40 years back now. I was in the city of Winnipeg near Chalmers Community Center. I think Carey had mentioned that back in when I was inducted. It was just one of those things. A lot of the kids that I grew up with, and we all went to it was a huge field. We just go there, have a bat, ball, a couple gloves, play 500 and up, or just different little games like that we, as kids, we played all the time. And you sort of start playing with all these guys, and then there was older adults around the community center that would sort of see, have you guys signed up for baseball yet, and stuff like that. No, well, we make sure your mom and dad come down and sign this up. Back then too, it didn't really cost anything, but it was a good time. And I think back then that's when sort of started throwing the ball. I didn't pitch back then, but it was a good time to just with all the kids.
Talk about the coaching part of it too, from that early part when you get into organized ball through the age levels up to junior and just what was all involved in getting you from point A to where we know you got with what you were able to do in the mound.
I think what it was is, again, it goes back to the induction dinner. Mr. Al Kinley, he was one. He grew up in Alberta also, and he was around all the time in all the different sports I played. So he was there. He taught me everything. Like he taught me how to sort of commit yourself to playing ball, like what you got to do, how you got to proceed as far as just being a person too. It was, and that's how it was. He was there all the time, and he was sort of my mentor that I looked up to all the time, and he helped me out quite a bit.
Okay, let's talk about that arm and just developing into the premier pitcher that you were, first of all, in the Manitoba Junior Baseball League, and realizing that you had something special when it came to pitching.
The pitching part of it, I don't think started till I was in Bantam. At 12, 13 years old, I went with another buddy of mine. We used to go out to his cabin out in Grand Beach there, and we'd bring our gloves all the time to play catch, and then just started throwing back to each other. Then we start, trying different things.
Fooling around,
the curveball. Then all of a sudden we could see, oh man, this ball is dropping a little bit here as we're. So, and that's how it started. We were out on, I'll never forget the street out in front of his house. There was a big well, I remember there, and we used to just play catch, start throwing. And the arm wasn't getting sore at all, so we just kept on trying. And from that point on, when we went back to play ball, because he played on the same team too. I think his name was Rory Jones. I think he was the one that told Al, listen, let the Carey pitch, because he's got this pitch that goes down a bit. And sure enough, went into one game and struck out a couple of guys. Oh, okay. And I knew I could throw, because I used to catch all the time. I was the only one that could throw the ball from behind the plate all the way to second base without it bouncing. So, and once I started throwing this thing, Al said, no, we're going to leave you in a pitch. So it was pretty good.
441 career strikeouts in the MJBL. And that is an amazing stat, because there's some talent, a lot of talented ball players that played during your era.
Yeah, I think, again, it was just, it's hard work. Back then, I think what it was this curveball. I struck out a lot of guys with this curveball. I didn't throw too hard, but the curveball was my bread and butter pitch, and I struck out a lot of those, probably 441 with the curveball.
Highlights from your junior career. Just talk about some of the great things that happened in that time frame.
Well, it started, I guess, when the Giants resurrected back in 1977, because we had so many guys coming out of the Bantam, which would have been, I guess, a lot of the guys born in 1959. So Al and I, we wanted to start it all over again, and that was back in 1977. So that first day was a big day, because I remember it was at Chalmers. We played against Carmen. There's some of the older fellas there, like the Curly Haws, I remember was there, and a couple of for the opening ceremonies, and there was a big picture taken, and that was one of probably the start, because that's when the Giants of this era, I guess they called, started, and it was a real good time. So that's just probably the biggest part, I think, starting, and then at the end, after the 4 years of junior, it's sort of sad to see it go, because you're going on to the next step in the senior ball, but I think winning the three championships, 78, 79, 80, they were pretty, 78 was one of those years, you didn't expect to, but meanwhile in 77, our first year, we made it to the semifinal. So we knew we had a pretty good team. We had a lot of guys, like I said, that nucleus of guys from 59 that came up, and every year, you had a couple guys, so and especially after you won it the first time, you had a couple of pretty good players, you got a pretty good chance to keep on winning, so it was a pretty good time back in the old late 70s.
The next step to Red Boyne, though, you want to keep playing, so obviously the next step is playing senior ball. Was there much of an adjustment, or how did you look at that?
There was a bit of an adjustment, because obviously you're with a lot of older people, but myself, and my cousin, we got called up a couple of times, from junior up to senior, just to sort of get a feel and a taste of it. So it was sort of, I guess, program you or get you ready for the senior ball. But you get in, once you start playing ball, it's one of those things, you got a bit of talent, if you know what you can do, you just go out and do the best you can too. So that's what it was in the senior ball, like I said. And then from senior, a couple of years in a Red Boyne, then I had moved away. We had moved away to Saskatchewan, and so I missed the Red Boyne there for a few years. But we came back, and then I got right back into it. But senior ball was a little more challenged. You couldn't just throw that curveball. You had to pitch, is what it was. So you had to try and outguess the hitter and stuff like that. But it's a learning process, is what it was.
Can you talk about the rivalries back then, the early years of the Red Boyne when you played? Because there were some great teams in Carmen, great teams in St. B. it had to be fun to come to the ballpark and looking ahead to, what am I going to do with this guy when he comes up to the plate, or someone else?
Exactly. That's all it was. It started even back in junior. Yeah. Back in junior was, let's say, the South Winnipeg Chiefs. They had some of their main hitters. So you try to, even the night before or the night of, you're trying to think, okay, I can get most of these guys up, but I don't know what I'm going to do with their 3 and 4 or 5 hitters. They're tough hitters. Getting into senior ball now with Carmen, we had rivalries with Carmen for 5 years there, and the same type of thing. Their whole lineup get hit, but their middle of the lineup, if you can keep the guys off of base before these guys, the big guys come up, then you sort of have a chance. And it was the same thing late in the senior against St. Bonaventure. It's the same type of thing. They had guys who can get on the base all the time, but if you can limit those guys and if the big boys coming up, if they do happen to hit one out of the park, they get only 1 run instead of 3 or 4 runs. So always thinking ahead.
In June of 2007, you were inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame. Talk about that day, that evening, and how special that was, going up to the podium and thanking family, friends, coaches, teammates, and what a thrill that was.
To be honest with you, it 2007 when I was inducted, but it started back, I guess, late 2006 when Al Kiley called me. And it was a total honor. I'm going to break down here again, but it was, Dad was always there. My dad had passed away that year, so it was tough. It was happy, but yet, you're pretty sad. So that was on my mind. And I tell you, that night, when it came to being inducted, and it was great, but it was sort of a relief after it was all done, let's put it that way, because that's all I thought about for the whole year. How I'm going to be doing my speech and stuff like that. I'm a little nervous now, but how to be doing your speech, and then, like you said, thanking everybody, all the coaches, all the players I played against, all the friends I made, through playing the baseball, and it was a good evening. It was fantastic. I think it was probably one of the biggest ones because some of the other inductees that night, I think, it just made the crowd a lot bigger, which made it even more pressure. But it was a fantastic night.
Perfect. Carey, thanks a lot for this, and congratulations on a great career on the mound. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Clayton.
Carey Kennedy was inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame in 2007. I'm Clayton Drager.